cartels. Well, Governor Garcia and I have reached an agreement today that addresses all of these issues. Governor Garcia has begun and will continue enhanced border security enforcement measures on the Nueva León side of the border, both at ports of entry and alongside the Rio Grande River, to prevent illegal immigration from Nuevo León into Texas. That increase in border security on the Nueva León side will continue going forward. And since Nueva León has increased its security on its side of the border, the Texas Department of Public Safety can return to its previous practice of random searches of vehicles crossing the bridge from Nuevo León. The effect of this will be that the bridge from Nuevo León and Texas will return to normal, effective immediately, right now. It will remain that way as long as Nuevo León executes this historic agreement. My office and the Texas Secretary of State have also been contacted about border issues by all Mexican governors whose states are connected to Texas by bridge. That includes the governors of Tamaulipas, Coahuila, and Chihuahua, as well as my office and the Texas Secretary of State have been contacted by the Chief Officer for the North American Unit at the Mexican Secretariat of Foreign Affairs. I look forward to working with all of them toward achieving results similar to what we are achieving today with Governor Garcia. Until, however, those agreements are reached with those states, the Texas Department of Public Safety will continue to thoroughly inspect vehicles entering into the United States from every Mexican state except Nuevo León. Now listen, I understand the concerns that businesses have trying to move products across the border, but I also know well the frustration of my fellow Texans and my fellow Americans caused by the Biden administration not securing our border. The ultimate way to end the clogged border is for President Biden to do his job and to secure the border. If you want relief from the clogged border, you need to call President Biden and tell him to maintain the Title 42 expulsion policy that has been in place for years. You need to tell President Biden to aggressively enforce the Remain in Mexico policy. You need to call your member of Congress and insist that they hold the Biden administration accountable. And you need to demand that President Biden enforce the immigration laws that have already been passed by the United States Congress. You also need to contact President Lopez Obrador and urge him to collaborate with Texas to end the influx of cartel activity from Mexico into Texas. Clogged bridges can end only through the type of collaboration that we are demonstrating today between Texas and Nuevo León. The fact of the matter is the Biden administration has abandoned the immigration laws of America. And because of that, President Biden has fueled the flow of illegal immigration. He knows that cartels profit off of every person entering our country illegally. He knows that the illegal immigration that he has fostered leads to kids being raped, some losing their lives. He knows that Americans are dying every day because of the fentanyl that he allows to be smuggled into the United States. There are very real and very deadly consequences for Biden's refusal to secure the border. Texas law enforcement is responding to that inaction by the Biden administration. Texas law enforcement is apprehending illegal immigrants that got away from the Border Patrol, including previously convicted murderers, previously convicted child rapists, kidnappers, drug traffickers, MS-13 gang members, and cartel gang members. And also, all law enforcement together, they have seized enough fentanyl that's come across the border sufficient to kill every man, woman, and child in the entire United States of America. Texas is apprehending people crossing our border illegally from countries like China, Iran, Russia, Iraq, and more than 150 additional countries from across the globe. It's time for the Biden administration to stop it. The true fix for the clogged borders begins with the White House. President Biden must assert the national security priority that comes with being the commander-in-chief of the United States. Until then, Texas will use its own strategies to secure the border and continue to negotiate with Mexico to seek solutions. And I thank Governor Garcia for working collaboratively with me on this project. And now I would like to turn the presentation over to Governor Garcia, Governor of Nueva León.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon for everyone in Texas and the U.S. and obviously in Nuevo León, Mexico. We are very happy to be here because for us, the Texas alliance we're building, it's very important. First of all, I have to thank Texas to allow us the cross-border vaccination process that has already vaccinated 250,000 children. We're the only state in Mexico that had already vaccinated our youth. On Monday, we came to the border to start a new highway. We are starting many highways in Nuevo León to connect even more with Texas and with TEMEC improve the goods and services we import and export. On that day, obviously, the entrepreneurs and the transports from Nuevo León talked to me to do something to increase again the revisions, the checkpoints going on the border. And minutes after I had a call with Governor Greg Abbott, I told him the situation and that we wanted to help from both sides to secure, because security is a key issue of both countries. And that's why I'm very happy to make history, because today, two states, and I think the most important states of our countries, are making a memorandum of understanding that we have to help both sides to have a border with much more security. And that's why in Nuevo León, yesterday, we began a series of checkpoints on our border, in our river, to make sure our Governor Greg Abbott that they will not have any trouble with Nuevo León. Our 14-kilometer border with Texas will be continuously patrolled by our police that indeed is the best local police in Mexico. And we want to make sure that Texas feels comfortable making business with Nuevo León and that together we can have a lot more business growing, nearshoring, and continue commerce. I would like to take an advantage to let U.S. and obviously Texas into consideration that Nuevo León is planning to have the best port of entry of Mexico here in Colombia. And to accomplish that, we have to start now with security, with highways, and with connection with the U.S., with obviously with Texas, to start even more stronger ally. So I thank Greg Abbott. I really wish my neighbors can join this memorandum of understanding. And also, and I would like to conclude by telling that Nuevo León is very happy to strengthen this economy region, because I'm very sure that in a few years, this northeast region of Mexico with Texas will improve in commerce and be a very important region economically for the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, we will sign the agreements. One is in English, another is in Spanish.
I will sign the Spanish one.
Oh.
Okay, so this is the English one.
This is the agreement that Nueva León and Texas have now entered, an agreement of cooperation for both security as well as for getting these ports open and doing business like they are accustomed to doing. With that, we'll be happy to take a few questions. Go ahead.
What would you say to your critics that say the policy that you put forward last week was a publicity stunt that blew up in your face and now you got to double back?
So the goal all along has been to ensure that people understood the consequences of an open border, and that Texas isn't going to tolerate it anymore. And we knew that as soon as we did what we did on the border, that we would be contacted by officials in Mexico, because it is a very high price to pay with regard to what is going on the border. And sometimes it just takes action like that to spur people sitting down and working things out like the way that they are beginning to work out. And it led to today, by us making history, by two governors sitting down. Think about what I'm about to tell you. We've spent something like 15 months under the Biden administration. Not once has Joe Biden been down to the border. Not once has he sat down to try to hammer out an agreement like this. Today, myself and the governor from Nueva León, we're doing something the President of the United States could have done long ago, but he does not do it. It's going to be governors leading the way through programs like this to make sure that we will be able to make our countries and our states safe. And I look forward to working with the other governors who have bridges that coming into Texas, where hopefully we can reach similar agreements.
Governor, what do you say to business owners, Governor, and consumers who say they have directly been hit by your efforts to make a point? It sort of refutes the message that we've all heard before, that Texas is open for business and that Texas is friendly to Texans and to Texas consumers.
Well, first, for the Texas business, report just came out showing that Texas has the strongest, the best, the number one gross domestic product of any state in the United States. Under my leadership, Texas has been ranked the number one state for business in the United States, and Texas has received the Governor's Cup for the number one state for economic development. The people in Texas who may have suffered some hardship because it took a few extra hours to get something across the port, those are the very same Texans who agree overwhelmingly that we as a state and we as a people have suffered substantially from the open border policies of the Biden administration. The same people who have suffered a few hours of delay, they have been shouting for the past 15 months to the Biden administration, do not open those borders. They've been demanding the Biden administration keep the Title 42 expulsions into place. They've been demanding that the Biden come up and show up, not for a photo op, but to show up and hear the complaints from the people in Del Rio. I'll tell you what, I've been to Del Rio. I've been up and down the entire border. I know exactly what the consumers along those borders are saying. They're saying they need the border secured. That is their top priority.
Next outlet. Governor, how would you respond to taxpayers who are upset that their money is going toward giving migrants a free ride to D.C.? And do you have plans to perhaps fly more of the migrants out of the Texas border, including at Los Angeles?
There's one thing that's perfectly clear, and that is the Biden administration and a lot of leaders in Congress have no idea about the chaos they have caused by their open border policies. And they refuse to come down and see firsthand and talk to the people who are really most adversely affected. And if they're not going to come to the border, I'm going to take the border to them in Washington, D.C. They experienced early this morning exactly what communities in Texas experience every single day, where the Biden administration is dropping off large groups of illegal immigrants from countries across the entire globe, leaving those local communities to have to grapple with it. And we had the first busload arrive in Washington, D.C. today. There will be more that will be arriving, whether by bus or plane, so that Washington is going to have to respond and deal with the same challenges that we're dealing with.
Governor Abbott, DPS has not publicly reported any drug seizures or immigrant apprehensions as a result of the truck safety inspections at the bridges. Have there been any, and if not, are those inspections having the desired effect?
I would have to refer you to the Texas Department of Public Safety with regard to what, if anything, they've apprehended. Here's the only thing that I do know, and that is that they're inspecting every vehicle, and almost 25% of all vehicles had to be put out of operation because of lack of safety of those vehicles, whether it be because of brake issues, because of tire issues, or other issues. There may be Texans whose lives were saved because of the vehicles taken out of operation by what the Texas Department of Public Safety did, because otherwise those dangerous vehicles with dangerous brakes could have run into a Texan walking across the road or driving down a road. So I applaud the Texas for Public Safety living up to what they stand for, public safety.
Sí. Claro. I will do it in English because we arranged to make this in English, and in the afternoon I will do it in Monterrey, Nuevo León in Spanish. Well, this is a memorandum of understanding that Nuevo León is going to compromise to improve its security, and I want to ensure that Texas feels comfortable making business and having an effective and quicker border. Because Nuevo León, in Columbia Bridge, we usually made 10 or 20 minutes for crossing. In the last days, we had 5 or 6 hours. All our fresh foods, vegetables, they were going to spoil, and obviously expenses were 2 or 3 times bigger. So if Nuevo León can assure security, technology, security checkpoints, and patrol the border to help Texas, and Texas can help us with more merchandise, with more commerce, we will do it. Because Nuevo León is first place in everything. In employment, we're first place in taxes, first place in formality, we're the motor engine of Mexico, and we are also first place in foreign investment. And most of it, it's because of TEMEC and commerce. So that's why we're willing to make an effort to patrol all the 14 kilometers we have with Texas, to be an example for other states in Mexico that they can resolve the problems and don't wait for other governments to enter to solve them. And that's why Nuevo León today signs this memo. It's a very clear memo on what we are compromising, and that's what we came here, Laredo, to do today.
Governor, can you tell us a little bit about how you will check up on Nuevo León, that they are, holding their end, and if you could tell me what other Mexican officials reached out to you about this problem?
Sure. So already, before we entered into this agreement today, I want to make sure that Nuevo León both had a plan and was executing that plan. And so the state of Texas, through the Texas Department of Public Safety, already began to check up on Nuevo León. The report I received last night from Steve McCraw, the director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, said that they observed no activity crossing the river whatsoever. during the time span that they observed it, and they observed increased personnel, and they weren't able to identify exactly if they were law enforcement or what they were, but clearly they were officials with the state of Nueva León who were ensuring safety standards and practices at the official port of entry. So whether it be the port of entry or along the border, we've already seen through multiple videos exactly the safety measures that Nueva León has already put in place that was articulated by Governor Garcia.
And what other
Oh, sure. So I've been contacted by every governor from every state that has a bridge crossing into Texas. And I think those meetings will begin as soon as tomorrow, in addition to one national level official who reached out and wanted to talk about what could be done to resolve this problem.
And based on those conversations, do you think the same agreement's going to be done, or is there someone or a state that,
So those are in the initial stages of the conversations, and we have basically just agreed to talk. And I can tell them right now, if they will live up to the same commitment that has been shown by Governor Garcia, and we will be able to quickly achieve a deal and an agreement that will make sure that their ports will be open swifter, but also the border will be more secure.
and speaking of the migrants you sent to D.C., do you know exactly how many made it today and how many we can expect maybe in the week?
So I can't tell you how many will be forthcoming. Information like that will be released only after people reach their ultimate destination. But I think the number was 24 that arrived today.
And can you explain
Sorry, next outlet.
Gobernador García, ¿algún comentario sobre sus impresiones en español sobre la firma de este convenio, por favor?
Pues muy contento. Ya empezaron a verse los camiones moverse. Inclusive ahorita me decía un mensaje que van más rápido de como estaban antes de esta medida que tomó el gobierno de Texas. Entonces estoy muy contento porque si esto va a mejorar y hacer más fácil y rápido el cruce, importación y exportación de mercancía tejana a Nuevo León o neolonesa, Texas, yo me doy por servido.
Governor, will the standards be the same on the Mexican side of Nueva León as they are here by DPS, and how would you monitor that, the inspection standards, sir?
So Mexico as a country, Nueva León, have their own standards that would be different from. They may be different. They may be identical to DPS standards. I wouldn't know, but we obviously observe what's going on and are able to determine whether or not high level of standards that DPS expects to be lived up to are being satisfied. And Director McCraw has indicated to me that he's satisfied with the standards and practices that are being used by Nueva León.
What is the reaction to
Go ahead.
What is the reaction to the Ag Commissioner's criticism of the new border policies, and about how much is that going to cost right now with the increased security?
Well, one thing that's clear, and that is he had no clue what we were doing and about the negotiations that we had ongoing with regard to officials in Mexico. So he was just completely uninformed.
Two more questions.
It sounds like you got two problems: the immigration problem and the 25% of the vehicles that are crossing over and possibly killing people. What are you doing about the 25% of those vehicles?
The Texas Department of Public Safety takes that extremely serious, and they will always use whatever strategies are necessary to make sure that our roads remain safe.
What are they doing right
Well,
now?
I can let Director McCraw answer that because he's the one responsible for it.
They're put out of service. They don't go anywhere until they're fixed.
So you're towing them, right? Rather than
No, until they can stay there, but they don't leave until they've remedied those defections that constitute a significant threat to the public.
All right, last question.
Governor, just a follow-up clarity question. Will the Mexican government be checking will Mexican officials be checking every single vehicle? And if so, what does that do to fix the slowdown in traffic that we're seeing?
Well, we already began on Monday. In Monday, we installed some checkpoints, security checkpoints, on our Codefront is the name of our institution. And obviously, we're trying to get some agreements, for example, to double check, but only with one instance. We already do some pilots on Nueva León for crossing and have one revision only. So this is the first step for maybe another ones to improve the revisions, the checkpoints. But nowadays, since Monday, we already started the checkpoints. We show Governor Abbott, we have federal police, migration police, local state police making those checkpoints to assure that they will arrive safe and not representing any threat to Texans.
Thank y'all very much.